From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Ann Hook along with Averi Haugesag. Today on the show, starting a new business can be tough. We will hear from a project manager who helps build businesses from the ground up.
Also, police use a variety of tools to catch criminals. We'll tell you about a new way departments gather information on cases. But first, the Federal Aviation Administration has expanded the use of portable electronic devices during all phases of flight. The U.S. Department of Transportation Administrator for the FAA made the announcement. Passengers can now use e-books, tablets, DVD players, and video game consoles during takeoff and landing. This decision is following a September report. It assessed more commercial airplanes could withstand radio interference signals from portable electronic devices. Delta Airlines is among the carriers who have completed this tolerance testing. Most airline agencies hope to make the electronic transition for the most carriers by the end of the year.
But the committee found that in some instances of low visibility, about 1% of all flights, some landing systems may not be proven to tolerate the interference. In those cases, passengers may be asked to turn off devices.
Residents of New York City will no longer be able to smoke before they can legally drink. The City Council adopted a bill raising the minimum age for tobacco purchases to 21. Mayor Michael Bloomberg says he will sign it into law. It will go into effect 6 months after his signature. This will be the strictest limit on any tobacco sales of any major American city. It will also affect sales of electronic cigarettes and cigars. Mayor Bloomberg made news earlier this year for attempting to ban sales of large soft drinks. Alzheimer's may be linked to HIV. Researchers at the University of North Dakota have discovered that the link may stem from a specific cell functions affected by HIV. The breakdown of these functions can lead to neuron cell death. Researchers say this can contribute to the development of Alzheimer's disease. Evidence shows that many people with HIV have accelerated dementia-like characteristics.
They can develop this kind of symptom in their 40s and 50s. Unlike the normal Alzheimer's disease, they develop in late 60s or even older.
The goal of Chen's research is to develop therapeutic strategies for combating Alzheimer's. By correcting the cell dysfunction, they might be able to delay, prevent, or even reverse the disease.
A Gallup study shows that only 13% of employees worldwide feel happy and motivated at their job. The study gathered worldwide data. More than half of employees surveyed say they lack motivation. Many reported being unhappy and unproductive. These unmotivated employees tend to spread their negativity to coworkers. Experts say this could be a factor in the global economy's slow recovery and even contribute to social unrest. The United States and Canada have the highest amount of motivated workers at close to 30%. Eastern Asia is the lowest.
People are always patrolling for the latest and greatest gadgets. Technology is also helping police step up their game.
Unlike normal 9-to-5ers, an officer's work can speed up quickly. So for them to be able to respond with all their tools ready is essential.
In a way, this is kind of our office with everything we have in here and what we're able to do with the technology. It makes our job easier as well as makes us more efficient.
Like any job, cops have to be up to date with the most recent gadgets and gizmos. But the tech they use differs in the way that they aren't the only ones to benefit.
And with the text-to-tip, it's important because with the generation, I mean, they're constantly communicating through social media as well as cell phones, and that's kind of where things are going lately.
Text-to-tip is one of the more recent innovations adopted by UPD and many other forces. The service is set up to help the 5-0 get the 411.
And it's an anonymous tip that'll go to the police department. And with that, we're able to do an anonymous chat, basically.
Officers are able to text back and forth with people through the service to zero in on a problem.
It really helps us gather information and maybe come about things that we wouldn't ordinarily come around.
The idea is to provide the community with a safe and anonymous way to contact their local police department.
We are here to help them. We don't want that mentality that, oh, UPD's here, let's scatter, let's get out of here. We want to be able to build those relationships and be able to talk to our students.
Community comfort and involvement are key things that help the police do their jobs effectively. And with technology always changing, many say it's getting easier for officers to better serve their communities. This is Olivia Fox reporting for Studio One.
The police departments in Grand Forks and at the University of North Dakota say they are among the first to implement a text-to-tip program. And that's the news for now. Ann?
All right, thanks, Averi, for that. We're going to move it now to Johnathan Metz in the weather studio, who's going to give us more information on a hurricane that hit about a year ago. Johnathan?
Well, thanks, Ann and Averi. It's certainly been a year since Hurricane Sandy struck the East Coast, but unfortunately more than 26,000 people in New Jersey are still out of their homes. But back then, approximately 147 people died and 650,000 homes were either destroyed or damaged. FEMA provided over $1.4 billion in assistance, and there were 882,000 people who received that assistance. But yet even today, many people in New York are still out of their homes and living in hotels or temporary living arrangements. If we zoom in on the East Coast, we can see the track that Hurricane Sandy took to cause all of that devastation. Started out as a fairly normal hurricane down on the east coast of Florida, and in fact, as it moved up, it actually turned out to the ocean. But as it did so, unfortunately, there's a high-pressure system that was off the coast of Canada, and that high-pressure system steered the hurricane back into the east coast of New Jersey, resulting in all of the damage and destruction that we saw. Closer to home, however, as we move into the season of winter, it's important for you to know how to properly prepare your lawn for the season.
Lawn care may be wrapping up for the year with winter approaching, but if you're looking to witness a luscious green next spring, you might want to take action before the first snowfall. Though it may be time-consuming, removing leaves from your lawn is a smart decision in the long run.
You know, it can always be done in the spring, but it's so wet, so it's easier to get it when it's dry and get it before it gets all matted down and on the lawn.
When frozen leaves thaw, mold will grow. Not only will there be an odor, but also potential to see dead areas for growth. Andrew also recommends cutting your yard down to 2 inches before the first snowfall.
It helps the grass get off to a start in the spring. It's easier to apply chemical and different things like that.
Aerating your yard is recommended annually, as it will help prepare the soil for creating a better growing environment.
Our soils in this region are heavy clay, so that they compact easy and they bind up. So the aeration is very beneficial, whether it be fall or spring.
With the first snowfall approaching, it is better not to make like a tree and leave the work for next spring. I'm Kellen Peters, reporting for Studio One Weather.
And if you don't properly take care of your lawn this fall, you might have a nasty surprise waiting for you once you get to the spring. That brings me to our weather question for the week. The Fujiwara effect relates to what type of weather phenomenon? Is it A, snow, B, lightning, C, hurricane, or D, fog? And that answer will be waiting for you at the end of the show.
All right, Johnathan, can't wait to hear it.
Well, that's good.
Let's move it now to Averi Haugesag with today's sports story.
Thanks, Ann. Rules are a way to help keep people in line. Some college students follow a different set of rules than the rest of campus.
Right now, the University of North Dakota volleyball team is worried about winning the game. They're doing whatever they can in the rules of the game to win. In college sports, rules go far beyond the court.
Someone comes up to you and says, "Great job, here's a UND jersey. You're not allowed to take any gifts, money from anyone else."
Mackenzie is talking about compliance. The National Collegiate Athletic Association's rule on compliance states that players cannot accept gifts or benefits. Players are also forbidden from sports gambling in any form.
It's a pretty hefty penalty. They can be, their career can be over, especially if they gamble on a team of UNDs.
These rules apply to more than just students. The universities are held accountable as well. Violations at the university level can include academic fraud, paying student athletes, or giving them gifts as incentives.
That's going to be probably loss of scholarships, loss of, postseason eligibility. It can be also involving, suspensions of various people.
Though the guidelines are strict with no room for error, most would say it is worth the limits.
If I can do 4 years or 5 years of playing a D1 division sport and take those 4 or 5 years of not having a fantasy football, it's totally worth it.
While there are many rules a college athlete has to follow on and off the court, players like Mackenzie would agree that it is well worth the sacrifice. With photographer Ann Hook, I'm Alex Stadnick, reporting for Studio One.
Mackenzie says rules are just part of being an athlete. There are more than 450,000 student athletes in the United States. That's Sports Story for now. Ann?
All right, thanks Avery for that. Many people dream of creating their own business. Next, we will hear from a man who helps make business ventures into a reality.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by NDAD, helping others to help themselves.
North Dakota is facing challenges in healthcare delivery. The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is building a place to help meet the state's healthcare needs. In addition to a new structure, we're also building interaction between healthcare professionals while building a workforce through expanding class sizes. We're inspiring our youth to engage in healthcare careers and exploring ways to reduce disease. It starts here and ends here, building a better future for North Dakota.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration, connecting vision to innovation.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
Great businesses start with an idea. The process of taking an idea and building it into a successful venture is unknown to many. Procurement Project Manager Tyler Okerlund is here to talk about how to make an entrepreneur's vision come to life. Well, thank you for being on the show today, Tyler.
Thank you for having me.
Explain to me, what is your role?
My role is procurement manager. What we do with the Small Business Development Center is we help businesses around the state and around the region get acquainted with federal procurement, and procurement being defined as a service or product that any business or startup business would like to give to the federal government, state government, or local government. So we help them out with anything that they need to move forward.
Could you tell me what actually the purpose of the North Dakota Small Business Development Center? What does it do?
What we do is we help them, any startup business or anybody that has an idea of doing a startup business or an existing business, we help them set their goals, help them with business plans, marketing plans, anything that they need to get ahead with their business, or help out with any loan opportunities so that they can move forward with their business expansion.
Could you tell me more about the program's goals and objectives?
Certainly. One of our goals is to make sure that we, within the SBDC, actually help all the businesses within North Dakota keep the business within North Dakota. And that's a strong thing that we emphasize is all the government money that we're spending within the state is trying to give businesses around the state that opportunity rather than outside of the state. So we want to make sure everything that's North Dakota born is kept in North Dakota to make sure all of our businesses here succeed first.
Could you give me more information on what the base realignment and closure commission is?
The BRAC, as it was defined by you right there, is something that comes up every once in a while when a base is on the verge of almost being closed. It's something that, in this case, the Air Force Base was looking at doing when, back in 2005, they initiated the first BRAC. And they look at certain things that disqualify the base from being open. And with this happening, that turned down all the base population from thousands of airmen and civilian workers to roughly around 1,300 workers, and that had a direct impact on the Grand Forks on the Grand Forks community and the county, because as the Grand Forks County does accommodate all those airmen and their families, we also strive on their business as well, because they come off the base to use all of our businesses around the Grand Forks region.
So why specifically are you deciding to work with the base?
Because we have a program specifically called the Defense Economic Transition Assistance Program. We receive federal funding from the Small Business Administration Office from DC. We also rely on the North Dakota Department of Commerce, and recently we have funds that come from the City of Grand Forks as well. And with the City of Grand Forks giving some funds to the program, which is why we started the DITA program to help businesses around that were affected by the BRAC in 05, for businesses around the Grand Forks region. We want to make sure that they have first dibs on a lot of things that we can help them out with. But we also are helping out businesses around the state. So I actually was just traveling around the state on the west side in Dickinson and Minot, Bismarck, and there's more opportunities out there for everybody that wants to start doing federal contracting too. So.
Well, you worked with the Air Force Base first before you had the employment you have now. Could you give me a little bit more knowledge inside those workings and inside those transactions for business?
What I did at the Air Force Base currently was I worked with civil engineering. I worked in civil engineering out there, and I also worked at part-time in a contracting office out there. So what we did out there was making sure businesses coming from the outside I'm looking at all the contracts and submittals that they would give for a bid, and then with the job that I'm working now, that I have that inside expertise, I can look at all the things that the businesses will put together, so I can help them get onto the base or any other federal entity on how they look at the contracts themselves. So quite frankly, it's a terrific opportunity for me to give back to the community and for the area businesses around the base, to give them inside info on how I can help them succeed.
Well, I'm sure one of the joys of your job for you is that you get to work one-on-one on creating a business that could be successful. Could you tell me more on just really, is there any business that has stood out for you the most?
Well, there's one that had a significant impact, and it was a colleague was working on it, and being that our procurement office did help in that aspect, we were able to help this business get a $2.5 million contract over 5 years at the Air Force Base recently. So that's a great success story to show that a business within Grand Forks, within the city of Grand Forks, has that big of a $1 million contract, basically. So that's a huge plus in doing what I do, and it makes me feel great that a business within Grand Forks is doing that. And not to mention that what we want to do is make sure that everybody within North Dakota can have that opportunity as well.
Okay. Well, just for also the people watching at home, let's say that I have an idea for a business, I want to bring it up, and I want to come to you as a resource. What are the challenges for someone wanting to start a new business?
Depending on whether they're actually going to be going in procurement, which I specialize in, but there's also within the SBDC network, we have offices in Dickinson, Bismarck, Williston, Minot, Jamestown, Fargo, and also Grand Forks here. Within that network, there are people all over the state that can help with finances, putting together projections, and helping with those business plans and marketing plans. So our whole network basically is one giant hub of knowledge that we can help businesses in their process to succeed.
Well, just going back with your history as a past vet, was it like to you to know that you can help start up the careers for servicely disabled veterans?
Giving back to actually veterans is a great thing. Like you mentioned, I am a prior vet myself, so working with other veterans and helping them succeed with their businesses or startups is a great feeling, because not only is there veteran programs out there and great loan opportunities for veterans when they do these when we do post-deployment programs, there's opportunities for veterans to utilize the GI Bills that could help further their knowledge for what they want to do, and then also these loan opportunities that can help expand their business.
All right, well, I wish you all the luck as you go on and help people start a new business. Thank you for being on the show today, Tyler.
Thank you, Ann.
Coming up, we think of not anything but hitting a button and printing on a piece of paper. Years ago, it was not that easy. We'll introduce you to a printing expert who knows how to print with an ancient piece of equipment.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
Some consider graduation the end of the college experience. For others, it's just the beginning.
And the university provided an environment where I could grow.
Many years after I graduated, I'm still receiving dividends from my experience as a student at UND.
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association is committed to growing the university by growing the alumni family.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
Admire the faculty. They're the ones that kind of helped push me through this.
Courses are hands-on and interactive. The communication program has so many different facets to it. One of the great things about the staff in the communication department is that they love what they do. They encourage you to really critically think and analyze everything you're learning. They're so into it, and it makes you want to be into it.
If you would like to attend a live show, go to our website at studio1.und.edu.
Turkeys may no longer be gobbling in fear every November. In the new family movie Free Birds, two turkeys travel back in time to the first Thanksgiving dinner. Reggie, voiced by Owen Wilson, hates his quiet life on the farm. He is kidnapped by Jake, voiced by Woody Harrelson, to join the Turkey Freedom Front. Jake and Reggie time travel back to the Plymouth colony in the year 1621. They are rescued from a hunter by Jenny, voiced by Amy Poehler. The three of them raid the village in an attempt to free their fellow gobblers.
I think they're both a little awkward, but she's definitely the leader of the two. When things go down, Reggie tends to hide behind Jenny, which is what a lady wants in her man.
Free Birds is the first full-length computer-animated film created by Real FX. The company previously focused on short films and TV commercials. The film will be in theaters on November 1st with a PG rating. When different couples are asked how they met, the stories are really the same. Maybe it was at work or their favorite hangout, but now online is becoming a more common answer. A report from the Pew Research Center's Internet and American Life Project says more than half of Americans say dating sites are a good way to meet people. We want your thoughts on whether or not online dating is a good way to find a mate.
I don't
think I would. It would be under a rare circumstance.
No, I wouldn't. I've just known a lot of real creepy stuff to go on with online dating. People trying to pry a little too much into personal life too quick and too fast.
I personally wouldn't, because I think that it's kind of creepy and I wouldn't want to meet someone that I don't really know anything about.
I wouldn't, because it just seems so impersonal to me. You don't really know who the person you're going to meet is until afterwards. It's kind of just so much set up by people you don't know.
Sure, because great way to meet people.
I just feel like you need to meet somebody in person to get to know them, really. So
I think I would give it a try just to see what people are out there and who are available, but I have to say I'm married, so I wouldn't do it now.
If I were middle-aged and wasn't married, or if I were divorced, then maybe I would.
A comment from our Facebook page from Aaron of Jackson, Michigan. I web dated off and on. I only went on a few dates and everything always seemed a bit tense, even more so with normal dating. I don't look down on it, it just wasn't right for me. Kate from Grand Forks says, I probably would consider online dating if I had not yet found a spouse by 35. Until then, I am confident that God's got it all under control.
People have been printing images and characters for thousands of years. Printing technology has evolved throughout the years, but one man prefers a piece of printing's past.
The smell of wood and ink fill the room. The creaks and squeaks create a symphony. And for one art professor, this piece of history was found in a most unlikely place.
Ran an ad and I saw it and I absolutely had to have it. So I called him up.
Kim's printing press is estimated to be from 1825 at the earliest and 1840 at the latest. The professor says it is an earlier make, though.
It's really important to them that it goes to somebody who either kept it and used it or refurbished it.
This rare printing press was one of the few in the United States, but is more common in Europe. It is arguably one of the oldest presses in the country.
Ones that are here now are the ones that have been imported or exported from Europe by individuals who wanted to bring them back.
And it was those individuals who allow a lucky art professor with something that he says is one of a kind.
It's a rare thing here. So I'm excited, just totally excited about it.
Many are fascinated with finding out where they came from. People like Kim link people together simply because of their passion. With photographer Ann Hook, I'm Dora Brallo, reporting for Studio One.
The printing press is used for a type of print called a lithograph. It was built 30 years after the invention of lithography.
All right, thanks Avery. Let's bring it back now to Johnathan Metz in studio with a final look at today's weather. How's it look, Johnathan?
Well, Ann, the country's a study in contrast over the next week or so. It's going to be cooler out west and warmer in the East Coast and Midwest. It'll be wetter than average in Indiana all the way back into Washington, but drier out in the Southwest. As we look at our weather question, here's the answer to the question. The Fujiwara effect relates to what type of weather phenomenon? Is it A, snow, B, lightning, C, hurricanes, or D, fog? The answer is hurricanes, and that refers to the spinning of a low pressure system around another one. Ann and Avery, that's the weather for now.
All right, thanks Johnathan. That's our show for today. As always, you can follow us through social media or get more information on our website. From all of us at Studio One, have a great week.
See you next week.